name's Natasha and this is my YouTube channel. Right, today I wanted to talk about securing a job when you're transgender. So at the moment I'm 3 years working as Natasha. I worked for one business for 2 years and then I secured another job August last year, and so at this point I've been working as Natasha just over 3 years and a few months. And what I wanted to talk about is how to secure a position, getting in the right mindset and understanding that it is possible. So first of all, the first topic is, are you already in a job, or are you starting, as I did, without a job from scratch? Now, for me personally, I've always felt switching halfway through for a job would be difficult for to get my own mind around, yet alone other people's, because they already knew you as one gender and as one person, and then you're asking them to change that. Whereas if you're starting out fresh like I did, a lot of people that I work with, in fact everyone I work with, unless I'm mistaken, didn't know me in my previous life, so it's kind of like a clean slate, and so I found that a lot easier in that regard. However, securing the job is what makes it a bit more tricky, and why probably a lot more people would prefer to already have the job and then transition. I think what you do is you go via HR department, and I've heard many friends that have done this, and then they release communication saying that this person is now going to be this person. These are some of the ways that you should conduct yourself around transgender people, and all the sort of sensitivities around it. So that's one way of doing it if you've already get in a position. When I decided to secure a job, I'd already been taking a career break, because I just sort of decided to sort of throw myself into being Natasha and understanding what I wanted. So I was in a situation where I needed to secure a job from scratch. Now, initially that was very, very difficult because you don't get the same. I mean, I've put it to the test. In the past I would have applied for maybe 5 to 10 jobs and I would have got offered at least a handful of them, maybe at least one at the very least. Whereas in securing my first position, I'd applied for 130 positions, and then I got offered a job within the job centre, and they offered me a work coach position. Well, I got a job as a work coach eventually. After a good 8 to 10 months of applying for jobs. So it does take a lot of perseverance. Initially, when I tried to apply for jobs in the past as Natasha, I would get disheartened, and then I would sort of go backwards and apply for jobs in my male persona, and then take the jobs and realise that wasn't what I wanted to do, and so then I started back at scratch again. And I think the moment I decided to commit and say, right, I'm not going to accept any jobs unless I get that job as Natasha. And once you burn that bridge behind you and say I'm not going to take any other possibilities, I think that's when things start to happen. So for me, like I said, after 130 applications, first of all I signed up to the job centre, so they saw me coming in, they saw me applying for jobs, and also I had an income while I was obviously doing that job search. They could see I was obviously trying really hard, and so you have that support. Granted, you can't support yourself on that, so it's not an easy thing to do to start with. However, it was something that I wanted to do and I had to do, and I'm glad I did it, because I am where I am now as a result of it. So first of all, signed up to the job centre and then start applying for jobs. And then what I did was I sorry about that, someone just came in. So I started applying for jobs, and then I managed to secure it after all that time. So one of the biggest tests, I would say, is perseverance. You're going to get rejected a lot. And I think even when you get disheartened, just carry on with those applications. The other thing I did, I was advised not to do this, but what I did was, because I was turning up to interviews as Natasha, but I had my female name at the top, and then I would turn up and I knew intuitively straight away that I wasn't going to get the position no matter how well I came across, because some people do have a problem with that. And the way I flushed that out was, I thought of a new approach of actually putting at the top, where you put a commentary of who you are and what your situation is. I put on there that my name's Natasha and I'm transgender, I'm going through the transition. And people thought that was silly because it shouldn't be about gender, but we live in the real world here. And what I did by doing that was I filtered out all the people who had no intention of ever employing me, and so that although it reduced my employment interview opportunities, at least the only people that were approaching me, and there were some towards as I sort of persisted longer and longer, as I got further into that, the people, what was in my mind was, as soon as I was invited to an interview, I knew that my gender wasn't an issue, because it was blazed across the top of the CV. I am transgender, and and these are all my skills, and I'm, you know, and straight away I know that I haven't got to worry about, oh, will they or won't they hire me based on my gender. So I think that puts you in a position of strength rather than a position of vulnerability. You're sifting out all the people that are not going to hire you, or it's not going to be conducive to a happy working relationship anyway. So after 3 years, I would say I'm very happy. I'm glad I did it. I think it's making that commitment, and also sort of deciding that's what you want to do. But you know, if it is really what you want to do, it is possible. It's just like anything in life. It's going to take a little bit. Something that you really want might take a little bit more dedication and hard work. But there are people that, and I think more from my experience in my new company, more and more people are sort of opening their minds to diversity, and it's almost being encouraged in organisations. One of the stories that kept me going when I used to become very discouraged was the story I read about a doctor in America. So there was a young medical student who applied for every university in America, all 300 I believe there were, and he got turned down. They said he would never be a doctor, so he applied for them all again the following year. Again, got turned down for them all. They said, stop applying, you'll never be a doctor. Applied a third time, again, got refused them all. Applied a fourth time, and then he got the job. He secured one of the universities. He then went on to become a qualified doctor, and then not only did he become a doctor, but he was the person to invent the first artificial heart. So what's that saying? He had a great contribution to humanity, and yet if he'd given up at the first 3 attempts, we wouldn't have had the artificial heart when we did. So it's not that when people say no to us, it's not that it's not possible. It's just that sometimes in life, when we're doing something big or bold, it requires a little bit more tenacity, a little bit more perseverance. And being transgender at the moment it's much better than it was. We exist now in the general public's mind, but it requires a little bit of steely determination in order to secure a position. And I'm living proof of that. I've been working for 2 years now, 3 years, like I said, in 2 different organisations. So I didn't just secure one job; I secured 2 jobs, both from scratch. And I've enjoyed it, and I think it's granted. I was the only transgender person in the first role, because it was a smaller business where I was, and there was 3 of us in the current role I'm in, but 2 of them have left now, so I'm the only transgender person. But I've kind of it's not really been a problem. I think people's attitudes towards it is getting much better, and I think as long as we put ourselves out there and we're seen, things are going to get easier and easier for the people behind us. So if anyone has any questions or any ideas, or wants me to sort of do any other kinds of videos or advice on how to get to where I've got to, please write in the comments, and I will do my best to try and find something that's useful. I know my initial videos haven't been that greatly received, but at the moment it's more about sort of practicing my delivery, and also the content's a little bit not great at the moment. But I think that what I've been able to achieve with getting these jobs as Natasha, I think anyone can do, and I think I would love to be able to help people to do the same thing, because I think the more of us out there, the better for other people. And I think what we do is when we dare to be ourselves, we give permission to other people to do the same, and it's like we're a shining light for the other people that are following around us. So you know, if anyone wants any advice, please reach out to me. But I hope this video is well received, and I hope to be doing more content again soon. Thank you.